down the field, 80 yards, 12 plays. You're thinking to yourself, call some timeouts. It's kind of, Belichick sometimes lets other teams. Remember the Super Bowl where Belichick didn't call a timeout and he let the Seahawks and Pete Carroll freak out? Like, there's a lot of different ways to do this. Some coaches are like, no, this is hard. Ryan Tannehill's average. I'm a good defensive coordinator. I'm not going to call timeouts. I'm going to see if you can figure out how to get down the field. I could beat up on Vic Fangio. A lot of coaches see the world differently. Belichick has been one of these guys historically is, if your quarterback's not great, I'm not going to use my timeouts. See if you can go down the field 70 yards. Whatever. I'm not going to bang on Vic Fangio. I would have called timeouts. But there's a lot of different ways in the NFL at the end of games to use your timeouts. I don't think you should be saving them. I'll say that. But that game's not about those timeouts. This is about Drew Lock. We are seeing all these great young quarterbacks in the league. We saw another one. Joe Burrow looks potentially very good. League's all about right now. Do you have a kingmaker? Do you have a playmaker? Looks like Kyler Murray's that guy. We got Patrick Mahomes that guy. Lamar's that guy. Russell's that guy. Aaron Rodgers still that guy. Okay, that's what this league is about. And Drew Lock, that game's not about losing last night. It's about being patient because Denver's got a really good young tight end and two good running backs. And it looks like a potential star at wide receiver. Don't go crazy on last night. Some teams are looking to win the Super Bowl this year. You know who they are. The Ravens, the Chiefs, Seattle, Green Bay, San Francisco, the Saints. This team's not a Super Bowl team. That is not their goal. Their goal is to find a franchise quarterback, and since John Elway retired years and decades ago, they can't find one. They had to rent one in Peyton Manning. He was old and had 4 neck surgeries by the time he got to Denver. Okay, Denver has a new head. Don't go crazy on this. They got a new offensive coordinator. Their number 1 receiver was out. Their number 2 receiver is a rookie. Tight end's a second-year tight end. Drew Lock's got 6 starts. Listen, Tennessee's been around a while. They're a good 9-7 team. They're a playoff team. Don't get into the minutia with Vic Fangio. I would have called the timeouts. But last night is about more than that. A lot of teams, 7, 8, 9, 10, they think they can win the Super Bowl. Denver does, but they can't. That's not where they're at. They're not in that space. This is a really good franchise. They can't get the quarterback right. I think they have a chance if they're patient. Now, is Vic Fangio the right guy with Drew Lock? I don't know. You don't have to have an offensive coach. I mean, is John Harbaugh an offensive coach? He's been great for Lamar Jackson. Is Sean McDermott in Buffalo an offensive coach? Nope. He's been great for Josh Allen. Pete Carroll's a defensive coach. Russell Wilson's got 2 Super Bowl trips and 1 title. You don't have, as Kyle Shanahan, and sometimes you're not sure if they get along. John Gruden's an offensive guy, and he's Derek Carr. Sometimes the offensive coach is too demanding, is a perfectionist, and has his own system and worldview, and it doesn't work with the quarterback. I don't know if Vic Fangio's the guys. I would have used timeouts last night. But the fascinating team isn't the team that won last night. Tennessee's got Ryan Tannehill in the AFC. Ceiling low, next issue. They'll go 9-7 because they always do. Vrabel's a very good coach. They can run the ball. They're tough. They'll be fine. The story's Denver. Can they find the next Elway? Now, this isn't Elway. You don't need an Elway to win a Super Bowl. You got to be patient. As far as the timeouts, Vic Fangio, is he the future? I don't know. A little old, out of touch sometimes. But here's his explanation.
Well, it was twofold there. One, their field goal kicker had obviously been having his problems. So I didn't want to extend the drive to where they could get closer, number one. And number 2, we would have used the timeout, but we got the running back out of bounds. We would have used the second timeout, which would have given us 1 left when we got the ball back. So that was part of the thinking there.
Not going to crush him for that. I would have used him. I've seen coaches who I respect who have Super Bowls not use them. Andy Reid's a great coach. His time management has always been the one thing he gets knocked for. So, I would have used him, but I think the fascinating thing is sometimes the team that wins is not the story. Drew Lock with Fant and Melvin Gordon and Judy, and I'm telling you, Denver's skill people are young, and they may not be on your fantasy team. They got a lot of talent. They have drafted John Elway. You can have your critics of him, but, man, they are ready. If Drew Lock is the guy, watch out, because they are stacked offensively at the skill positions. Joy with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, the other big story last night, as Vic just mentioned, the kicker, Stephen Gostkowski,
Jankowski.
For his Titans debut last night, he missed 3 field goals and an extra point, leaving 10 points on the board. But with 17 seconds remaining, he redeemed himself, sort of, and hit the game-winning field goal to get his team the 16-14 win over the Broncos. What have you done for me lately? That's what this league is, I guess. We're not going to, I don't know. Do you forget that he missed that much? That's a pretty substantial.
Well, it's classic. Belichick cut to Hall of Fame kicker, and he suddenly can't kick. Belichick always just gets rid of a guy. Everybody overpaid for, like Malcolm Butler and Deion Lewis, and he just builds.
And you know what? Everyone around the league just keeps falling for it.
Every single time.
Every time. Belichick must love that. Well, look, he had 14 seasons in New England. Patriots is the all-time leading scorer.
Yeah.
He is a Hall of Famer. It's just rough. That was something. It was it was painful to watch.
You know what's funny about that is that ages well in the NFL. The difference is, like a punter, he shanks a couple and he just disappears into the ether.
Right.
When a kicker ages poorly, it's like, the camera's right on him. It usually is crucial.
Nobody has any sympathy for kickers because you're not doing anything during OTAs and training
least
camp.
athletic player.
You just sit out and hang out with other kickers.
Yeah,
you're in the shade, and you just got to come in. But then all the pressure's on you, right? Like, we don't see or hear from you until you got to save the game for all of us.
We've never done a kicker segment until today, and that tells you we never talk about the kid in Baltimore is one of the great kickers in the history.
Tucker,
yeah. We never talk about him. We only talk offensive linemen and kickers. When you screw up is the only time we talk about it.
Entering the game, he'd never missed 3 field goals in a game. He missed from 42-47 and had a 44-yard attempt blocked. And he has now missed an extra point attempt in 4 consecutive games.
Yeah,
so
it's over.
It went downhill quickly. So shine the way a star receiver should on Sunday. 3 receptions, 22 yards against the Ravens, albeit a pretty rough game for the Browns all around. He did have a game-high 10 targets, though, and Kevin Stefanski is hoping Baker can get the ball to their star receiver even more going forward.
I think we got a pretty good feel for Odell and his skill set. I mean, he's a talented football player, so it's our job to put him in position to make plays. We're mindful of all of our players in terms of how they're touching it. There were opportunities early where the coverage took it away or somebody else was open, those type of things. But he's a good football player, so I don't think it's newsworthy that he's a focal point of our offense.
For the record, Thursday night football.
Yeah, it's going to be very good this week. Bengals, Browns.
Baker against Burrow. I'll tell you, we said this yesterday. This is where the NFL is different than every sport in America. You and I would never watch bad anything. College football, hockey, Bengals, Browns could end up not being. I'm throwing a house party Thursday. I cannot wait for Baker versus Burrow.
You and the dogs?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure they'll be as jazzed for Burrow and Baker as they were for Brady and Breeze.
Listen, everyone was jazzed for Brady and Breeze, best rating since the Super Bowl. But
it's a game. It's a real game.
This is something, and it could go very badly. The Bengals have nothing to lose. If they lose, it's expected. If the Browns lose,
after Pittsburgh looked pretty good last night,
and they got stomped by the Ravens.
Oh boy, it sounds overly dramatic. This game for Cleveland on Thursday is massive.
It is dramatic.
You cannot go 0-2. Do I sound ridiculous saying that?
No,
Thursday is
you just lost a division game. You have a division opponent on Thursday. The Steelers just won.
Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a massive game for Baker and the Browns.
Graphics Thursday.
I will say though, I'm not ready to give up on Odell.
Well,
so can we just get him out of Cleveland? I know Cleveland fans don't want to hear that, but
it doesn't fit perfectly.
It's not working, and I understand that Odell was hurt last year for most of the year, but and I don't want to overreact to week 1. You only have a couple games to prove me wrong with that statement. You got to get him going. This is a huge piece to your offense, and whether he necessarily is or not, his name alone demands that he has to be a big part of your offense. Otherwise, he's got to be a tray piece. Yeah. I just think he's a star, and I just feel like he's lost in Cleveland. He's done an amazing job of buying into everything that Cleveland's doing. So I don't think that it's his fault. And I don't necessarily think it's Baker's fault. I just think it's not working.
Yeah, some relationships don't work. It's okay.
Finally, following their disappointing exit in the playoffs, Bucs ownership is showing Giannis they're committed to building a championship team.